Bad back day, so that means Oscar day. I just watched May December, Natalie Portman and Juliana Moore, the Todd Haynes production. Boy, with was it Nolan? What's his name? The young fellow. I say young because he's younger than me, 36, I guess at that point. Yes, a really properly creepy, uncomfortable movie about a actress going to visit a sexual predator and her victim, who she seduced and had sex with, got pregnant by when he was in 7th grade, like 12-year-old, 13-year-old. Went to prison for it, had their child in prison, and I guess got married to him when he was an adult later. They had some more kids, and now she's coming to do a movie about them. And I guess there's already been one Lifetime movie, very much from the kind of the tabloid of forbidden love, kind of the titillation factor. And, you know, there's always that question whether this is just going to be a more artsy version of the same kind of Hollywood story of a May-December romance, which calling saying May-December in itself is like saying like, oh, May-December romance. And it does a really good job of showing kind of the damage and the exploitation, both of Juliana Moore's character, also very much the exploitation of the actress that Natalie Portman is thing, how she conducts herself, how she initiates a kind of a mirroring relationship with the young man, seeing this young man in kind of arrested development, basically kept cocooned, very much like the butterflies, except he actually raises butterflies and releases them, while she is a hunter who is always hunted and shoots and eats her prey, whereas he's growing. I mean, these are probably basic, really basic kind of melodrama kind of symbology that Todd Phillips, God, I'm sure I've got the director, Todd Phillips and Todd Haynes mixed up in there. Don't come to me for proper movie stuff. And him, you know, the director using kind of over the top melodramatic music at the beginning, there being this kind of bump, 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 we're out, we're gonna need more hot dogs, and kind of signaling kind of in some ways a mockery of like what our expectation for the story is going to be, I think is what he's going for. Kind of mocking the audience, because it's like, yep, you eat up this stuff, the audience, and I'm not really going to give it to you in this movie. You know, there's the saddest sex scene where at the same time he's giving you beefcake. You know, the young guy, he is a young hunk, but he's also like this damaged, stunted human being who's been robbed of his life. You really get the sense, like, you really fucking hope he's maybe going to be outside of this, but you also think he's ensnared by this woman, this predator. And I mean, she is a predator in the kind of the worst kind of sense. And with a weird thing of she's been semi-trapped in this cycle herself, but told to us in a way that makes you like, this is the easy Hallmark movie of the week kind of cod psychological explanation for it. Portman and Juliana Moore and Francis Melton does a really good job, with this, and like the kids who are the product of this, and how they are fucked up and want to get away from this, but are also, oh, you can see that the hooks are in there, and the hooks are in there. Come on, let's go. Our hooks that are in there are, some of them are like really mundane, like, you know, Juliana Moore negging her daughter on her appearance, which is just like, oh well, that's a familiar kind of passing on of shitty stuff that you might kind of conceive and feel about yourself. But then there's just like the other levels and layers. And yeah, probably all, you know, for the Natalie Portman, I'm sure that's going to be just like a slightly more arty version of the shitty one that she briefly watches on TV at some point. Of, yeah. And I mean, in some ways, her being like, yeah, no, I want the young actor boy who I'm going to go against to be hot. It's just like, oh, you know, just exactly how in a lot of ways, well, very much by the end, you know that this is going to be another one of these stories that is taking the predator's side in this story, which she doesn't see as somebody's life. It is just a story. Yeah. So, can see why, you know, this is, I need to seek out more movies by this filmmaker who has done Far From Heaven and a couple of other things, and maybe even remember the director's name if I can. All right, I will leave it there. But May December, fucking not a romance.